Put a porcelain doll on a shelf and walk across the room. Its head never turns, its eyes never move, yet it can feel like it's tracking you. Your brain doesn't need to believe the doll is alive. It only needs the eyes aimed close enough toward you to classify the stare as looking at me, but that only explains the gaze. Why does it feel like attention? Because a direct stare is not just something your brain sees. It treats it as something happening to you. And it does not demand geometric perfection. Researchers use a term called the cone of direct gaze for the range of eye directions people still accept as looking at them. It makes a fast social judgment from imperfect information. Now put that visual rule inside a doll. Many are built with a fixed, forward-facing stare. If the face is pointed toward you and the pupils sit near the range your brain accepts as direct, the doll can keep landing in the looking at me category even though nothing is moving. Pictures can produce an even stranger version. If a person in a photograph or painting is depicted looking toward the camera, viewers can continue to feel that the gaze is directed at them as they move sideways. This is often called the Mona Lisa effect, although researchers who measured Mona Lisa's gaze found that she is looking slightly to the viewer's right. Apparently, the most famous example failed its own audition. A doll is three-dimensional, so the geometry is not identical. But the larger lesson survives. Perceived gaze is not a laser beam. It is a category your brain constructs, and that category has tolerance. But the stare creates a deeper question. Why should a fixed pair of plastic or glass eyes feel like attention rather than just decoration? Because eyes do more than tell you where a face is pointed. They also change what kind of mind you think is behind the face. In 2016, researchers Sarah Khalid, Jason Deska, and Kurt Hugenberg found across 4 studies that direct gaze increased the tendency to attribute a sophisticated human-like mind to a target compared with averted gaze. Their conclusion was not that eye contact proves a mind exists. It was that direct gaze is a powerful cue for mind perception. A doll creates a contradiction your social system normally never has to solve. You consciously know there is no observer behind the eyes. But the visual cue itself is built from the same ingredients your brain normally uses to detect another person's attention. The eyes are especially important here. Benjamin Ballas and Joseph Horsky digitally swapped human and doll eyes into ambiguous faces, and doll-like eyes made the faces look less alive. Related work suggests that judgments of facial life can flip surprisingly quickly as a face becomes more human. So the eyes are not just decoration. They help push a face toward, or away from, the category your brain treats as socially alive. But this video is not really about whether the doll looks alive. The stranger point is what happens before that judgment has finished. In 2011, Wheatley and colleagues measured electrical brain responses while people viewed human faces, doll faces, and ordinary objects such as clocks. Both human and doll faces produced an early face-sensitive response roughly 175 to 200 milliseconds after the image appeared. Later processing separated them. Human faces produced more sustained activity associated with socially meaningful face processing. And here the two judgments split apart. Your brain can register face very quickly without granting the object a full human mind. A doll can therefore get through the front door of face processing before later systems stamp the paperwork object. Picture the doll now on a cabinet across a dim room. You look away, take 2 steps, then glance back. Same glass eyes, same frozen face. Nothing has moved, yet the instant you meet the stare again, the room feels a little less empty than it did a second ago. Now add direct gaze. First, the visual system detects a face. Then the eyes fall inside the range that counts as looking toward you. Direct gaze makes the scene self-relevant, and direct gaze can encourage mind attribution. Only after those processes begin does explicit knowledge arrive with the obvious correction. Porcelain, plastic, fabric, no nervous system, no one home. The result is not necessarily a belief that the doll is alive. It is 2 different levels of processing giving you different kinds of information. Turn the eyes away, and something interesting happens. The doll is still equally human-shaped. It is still equally artificial. But the social signal has changed. Averted eyes imply attention somewhere else. Direct eyes imply a possible interaction with you, but context can shut the effect down. In work by Jari Hietanen and colleagues, direct gaze produced stronger autonomic and brain responses when participants believed a live person could actually see them, but not when they believed that person's view was blocked. More recent work has found a similar pattern. Skin conductance and heart rate responses become stronger when people experience themselves as genuinely being watched. So the doll effect is not evidence that your brain literally mistakes plastic for a conscious observer. Context and belief matter. The more accurate description is that a doll can trigger pieces of a social attention system without completing the full experience of mutual eye contact. The room itself can amplify the effect without changing the doll at all. Put it directly across from your chair, facing forward, and every glance begins with a face whose eyes appear self-directed. Turn the head toward the wall and the same object loses much of that social geometry. The material has not changed. The inferred direction of attention has. Move sideways to test it, and the result can be annoyingly unhelpful. You are trying to prove to yourself that the doll is not tracking you. But if its gaze remains within your personal cone of direct gaze, the test keeps returning the same answer, still close enough. You move again. Still close enough. Congratulations, you have invented a very low-budget psychological experiment in your own hallway. The deeper reframe is that being watched is not a direct measurement. You never see another mind looking at you. You see a face, eye orientation, head direction, context, and behavior, then your brain infers attention. With real people, that inference is usually useful. With a doll, the machinery can run on visual cues even when the conclusion is consciously rejected. So when a doll on a shelf seems to watch you, the unsettling part is not that some ancient system has decided the object is secretly alive. It is that your brain can detect the visual grammar of attention before it has settled the question of who, if anyone, is doing the attending. Put a porcelain doll on a shelf and walk across the room. Its head still never turns. Its eyes still never move. But now the feeling makes more sense. The doll is not tracking you. Your brain is tracking the possibility that something is looking back.